All right, guys, welcome to the very first episode of Roman and Dave podcast, the podcast RDPP of 2024. So, the only way that I can think of starting the new year is with my favorite drink. And obviously, that is Old Forester. So, but we're going to do a little bit of a twist on it like we normally do, okay? So, I'm going to get myself a nice little cup here. Oh, that's a lot. Hold on. But here's the twist. I am going to smoke it. So let's see how this goes. All right, then we got a nice little smoke going in there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it was a nice little Christmas gift from Steph for me for the holidays. So you know you got yourself a good woman when she gets you ability to smoke your whiskey. So anyways, I hope everybody had a really good holiday. I really hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope everyone had a got whatever they wanted, got to spend some time with family or whoever they wanted. Um, but yeah, it was really good for me. I got to spend some time with Roman and Steph, and that's always a good time. We did get Roman the streaming abilities for the Xbox, so if you are a follower, which you should like and subscribe to Roman Dave podcast on YouTube, Roman will soon be able to stream his video games. So if you are interested in that, please give it a watch. It's gonna take some time though. I'm sorry. All right. Well, I let this smoke for about 20, 30 seconds. So I'm gonna take this off here. See that nice little smoke? Oh, look at that. That's nice. So cheers to you guys to a brand new 2024. It just adds so much flavor to it. So anyways, Um, yeah, it's just me today. I don't have any guests, so there's just a couple of things I'd like to talk about. It's going to be a kind of a quick podcast, but we got to talk about this guy right here. Cleveland Browns are your fifth seed in the AFC playoffs. Now they have the second best record, tied for second best record in the AFC, but I don't remember having this much fun in a football season. You know, because I mean, as a Browns fans, we're kind of used to having these season where like you're like, okay, the season's over. Finally, no more pain, no more anguish. Like I'm gonna miss football, but it's kind of nice having. It's kind of nice it being over. But this year is totally different. The feel of the game, the feel of the team, the feel of everything is just totally different. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what changed, but I do think that Kevin Stefanski's finally has a culture that he wanted, finally has the players that he's getting in there, and they all just bought in. They 100% bought in. And our defensive coordinator, Coach Schwartz, he was saying that this team reminds him of the 2017 Philadelphia Eagles team that won the Super Bowl. Similar conditions, not totally the same, but the underdog mentality, like nobody is giving them a chance with all their injuries. And then when in 17, when Carson Wentz went down and he was the MVP candidate, because believe it or not, if you remember, he was actually really good for a couple of years, but things have changed. And then Nick Folk came in and or Nick Foles, not Nick Folk, he's a player. Nick Foles came in and they ran the table and won the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. Um, so it kind of has a feeling towards that though, you know, and but here's the problem. There's one team I did not want to face in the wild card playoffs, and that was the Houston Texans. I want nothing to do with CJ Stroud. The kid's a stud. He's clear and away the rookie of the year. And he just has that it factor about him. He bombs it out. He extends plays with his legs. He hits guys in stride. He has the total package. And so he was not the quarterback that I wanted to see in round one of the playoffs. Um, I never want to see the Bills in the playoffs because you never know. Josh Allen, he can very well, he can throw you the ball just as many times as he can throw his own team the ball. But he also kind of has a little bit of a net factor, and they're kind of getting hot right now, especially after they got rid of Dorsey, their coordinator. The Chiefs just aren't the same this year. I don't know what happened to the Chiefs. Um, I think it's because the enemy, their offensive coordinator, went to Washington, and so they're not clicking. Um, Well, I mean, and the obvious point is they don't have a wide receiver outside of Kelsey that can catch the ball on continuous basis. So, like, yeah, their defense is very good, but their offense does not scare me at all. So the Chiefs, the Bills are a little bit more intimidating. I wanted the Jaguars to win because they are not a good football team. Um, the Dolphins, they're their offensive style kind of intimidates me as far as how we run our defense. The Browns defense runs a lot of zone and cover one, and they like to play aggressive and keep guys on islands on the outside and just like make the quarterback make a decision quick with their pass rush. The problem with that is when you have Waddle and Tyreek Hill, that time it takes to get downfield, they're already 20 yards downfield, even though for most normal people it's only like 5 or 6. But with the pass rush getting into his face, I think we could get to Tua a little bit, and that'll give us a chance. Their defense is pretty banged up. Um, who else? The Steelers. They don't scare me at all. Especially now that TJ Watt's out. They are like 1-10 in games that TJ Watt doesn't play in. Um, yeah, yeah. So and like obviously the Baltimore Ravens, I don't want to see the Baltimore Ravens. Nobody does, but we already beat them. So I'm not. So what are you gonna do? But the Houston Texans, the Browns already beat the Houston Texans, yes, but that was without both pass rushers on defense and without CJ Stroud. Now, like I already told you, why CJ Stroud intimidates me, but that it can't be understated how important he is to the game. Like he totally single-handedly just will flip the game. Like the Texans would have lost against Indy without him. So, and I don't like the idea of I can't think of the wide receiver's name, but the wide receiver's name streaking down the sideline, and like we have the three best corners in football, like as a team, but all it takes is like one or two plays, and then and then it's over for them. So I did not want to see the Houston Texans in the playoffs, but that's who we got. So what are you gonna do? I also not a big fan of resting players. Like I get why the Browns did. Their bye week was week 5, and so they haven't really had a true bye week in 13 weeks. Um, but like they did play Thursday night in week 17. So in reality, a lot of these players are closing in on 2 weeks off. And that's a long time for people not to play football. And I just get worried though, because there's a lot to say in my mind about momentum. To me, momentum is huge. Like, and you can't analyze it. You can't do this. You can't do that. But like, I understand people need breaks and injuries happen when people are overextendedly tired. But there's a lot to say about keeping the momentum of the game. And even though it was our backups against the Bengals, I just think that losing the way that they did was a hindrance, even though it wasn't our starters. They are like that's still momentum. That's still the feeling in the clubhouse of of winning and excellence and playing hard, And so when Flacco and Garrett and and I'm drawing blanks on names. I'm sorry, it's late at night here. And just some of the other guys, like our wide receivers, they didn't play last week either, and you know, and they didn't play the week before against the Jets, and so I just think that having that much time off, they may be a little bit of rust, and the Houston Texans are not a team that you can start out slow on because they're going to score points, they're going to move the ball. I don't care what defense is out there. Now, analytics does say though that CJ Stroud does really, really good against zone teams, especially zone 2 and 4. Really, it's just obviously 3 because that's not really a good passing zone. Um, but he really struggles against man coverage. And what does Cleveland run a lot? Man coverage. So it's gonna be a fun, interesting game. I think it's gonna be a little bit of strong on strong. I think we're kind of an opportunistic, explosive offense now with comeback player of the year Joe Flacco on at behind center. But it'll be interesting, and I think it's gonna be a really fun game. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that it's going to be a intense, fun game, and I there's just something special about this Browns team that we haven't even felt before. Because even when the Browns went to playoffs in 2020, it was more of a like a why not us? Hey, we got here. Let's have some fun. And this year feels a little different. Like they were supposed to be here. They didn't get hot and win like 6 or 7 games in a row like they did in 2020. They were continuously good all year, and they were resilient, and they're just mentally tough. Um, we beat the 49ers with PJ Walker. Do you guys have any understanding about how ridiculous that is? I try not to like bash people because this is supposed to be a positive podcast, but PJ Walker is not a good quarterback. He got benched for the guy that just lost to the Bengals last week. And so PJ Walker's now our third string emergency quarterback. Like, that's just insane. You're not. But we beat the 49ers with him. So what does that say? And we beat the Ravens, the two best teams in football. We beat the Ravens, but that was with Deshaun Watson doing his late game heroics. But so wouldn't it be interesting though if just me and my brother were talking about this? Wouldn't it be interesting? Cleveland's the fifth seed, Steelers are the seventh seed, right? So let's say the Browns beat the Texans, and let's say the Steelers beat the Bills. I don't think they will, but let's say they do. So that means the Browns would play the winner of the Chiefs Dolphins game, and then the Steelers would play the Ravens. Well, the Steelers have already played the Ravens twice and beat them twice. And I'm fairly certain the Browns can beat the Chiefs because I don't think they're that good of a team, but they might like they're still Patrick Mahomes. So like you never get bet against Patrick Mahomes. Um, and the Dolphins, they would play in Cleveland, and the Dolphins struggle against really good defenses. So there's a chance, not a strong chance, but a chance that the AFC Championship game could be in Cleveland against Pittsburgh. And how poetic would that be? The team that haunted us the most since the return, our biggest rival, going a chance to go to the Super Bowl in Cleveland Brown Stadium. If that doesn't put a smile on your face, and if that doesn't get you excited for that potential, then I don't even know what we're doing here because that's game time. That's they would make a movie out of that. And there's also something to say that if the Ravens beat the Steelers and Cleveland has to go to Baltimore, and again, this is all assuming that Cleveland wins their games, which I'm not even sure they're going to beat the Texans, but I'm trying to stay positive here, and for just you know sake of story, and then you know who would be coming back to Baltimore, and wouldn't that be poetic if the guy that led them to their last Super Bowl beats them to go to the Super Bowl against the current Browns against the previous Browns with Joe Flacco at the helm. You couldn't write Steven Spielberg couldn't write a story that good. Will it happen? Probably not. But it's fun to think about. And if it does, it will break records that you've never seen before. And it's also kind of cool to think about that the three AFC North playoff teams are three of the four teams that are in the AFC, the last four teams, three of the last four teams in the divisional round. And that just goes to show how good the AFC North is. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to this weekend. Go Browns, um, go Joe Flacco, and go Miles Garrett. The other thing I wanted to talk about, hold on, cheers, go Browns. The other thing I want to talk about that doesn't really get, it's, I may be ruffling some feathers here with some like traditionalists, but in my opinion, every NFL stadium that's north of North Carolina needs to have a dome. Um, well, hell, let's just say every NFL stadium that's not in California, Texas, or Florida needs to have a dome. And those teams have domes because it gets so damn hot. But I'm really getting real tired of these open stadium games. You know, people are like, that's how the game's supposed to be played. I don't care. I want the best football that I can watch. If I'm spending all this money to watch football, especially if I'm at the game, I want the best quality on the field. I don't want the elements. I don't want rain. I don't want snow. I don't want wind. I want to see my team with at their best against their team at their best. I'm tired of saying, well, this is football weather. No, it's miserable and it sucks and the players don't want to be there. Look at look at the Chiefs Dolphins game. It's a chance with wind chill to be negative 30 degrees. And there's an outside chance in Buffalo that there could be a state of emergency with snow. Like, who wants to watch your playoff games? Do you really want your chance at Super Bowl to be the best team in the world to come down because it was bad weather? Mind you, the bad weather helps Pittsburgh and hurts Buffalo. So, the Buffalo, do you really want to have those elements, or would you rather have a dome over your field and have Josh Allen have a clean field all season long? To me, as a football fan, I want the best product. I want to be able to watch my team play the best brand of football every game. You know, like I don't want my kicker to miss a kick because it's 45-mile-an-hour winds and he kicks it 12 yards to the left and still is wide right by 3 yards. I don't want, I don't want a guy running 20 yards open downfield and have the football go 14 yards out of bounds because the wind took it that far. Like I want good football. I don't. Maybe because I'm getting older and I'm more gonna get off my lung as I get older, but I want the best product possible. Listen, I've had season tickets for 13 years. I've watched a lot of bad football, whether it's good or bad, but I've also been like miserable at the games. I'm spending 60, $65 a game per seat. I don't want to watch teams slide around and slip and slide for 3 hours. I want to watch good football. Look at the Colts. Look at Detroit. They don't. You don't hear their fan. Look at Minnesota. You don't hear their fans complaining about, oh, I wish we had an out weather stadium. Nobody there is complaining about that. They all love it. So stop with that whole it's tradition is how it's supposed to go. Give me the best product possible. The owners are spending millions and millions of dollars on these players. make them earn it. And like, okay, so and also a lot of players hate the fake grass, the turf, and I get that. That makes sense. You talk about safety first. However, but if you look at like teams and soccer teams and over in England, they have these um fields that actually go underneath the stadium, and they have like infrared and whatever the lights they are, and they grow the grass underneath the stadium. And then the stadium opens up and then the grass comes up and then they rotate. There's no reason why the NFL can't have real grass inside stadiums with the technology that they have nowadays. I mean, even look at Arizona. They have one of the older domes nowadays, and then the grass slides out and it slides in. So between the Cardinals and between how they do it with the soccer fields in England, you can't tell me that they can't get real grass inside the stadiums if there was domes. And nowadays, a lot of domes they have the retractable roofs, and that's fine. Like I'm cool with retractable roofs. Actually like the idea. So if it's a nice day, get some fresh air in there. That's cool. Minnesota's really cool because like half the stadium, the one end is glass, so you still get a lot of natural light coming in. I'm cool with that. I think that's actually a really good idea. But spare me the whole football is made to be played in the elements thing. Like, if you want to say that with high school, grade school, that's fine. But now that people are making millions and millions of dollars, and then with and now that gambling's legal, and now that just everything's so much more expensive, I want to pay for what I get. I want to pay for good quality football. I don't want to pay for slop. I think a lot of people would agree with me if they really think about it, though. But I don't know. I'd like to hear your comments on it though. So feel free to comment, and if this is on YouTube, comment down below in our comment section. If you're listening to this on man, my brain is not working today. Spotify. If you are listening to this on Spotify, feel free to comment on the Facebook page or Instagram, and I want your opinions on it. And I'm feel free to have a conversation about it. But that's just my 2 cents. Um, So before we sign off, I am going to answer a couple questions. So, okay, question number one, and there is saying, how strange has the season been for the Browns that Joe Flacco is now a quarterback in the Browns in the playoff hunt? It was asked before they clinched the playoffs, but in playoffs, it's weird. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, the one fun thing about football fans in general, but like Browns fans and but everybody does it, is how fickle Browns fans are. Browns fans would go to all ends of the earth to scream about how overrated Joe Flacco is and he's a bum, and the reason why they won is because of their defense and he gets lucky. Well, now that he's winning for the Browns, now all of a sudden he's elite Joe Flacco. He doesn't have to pay for a meal in the stadium. He's a toast to the town. And that's one fun thing about Browns fans or just NFL fans in general, really, is they hate the player until they need them. And then all of a sudden they're their favorite person in the world. So um I'm okay with it, like business is business. And if you win me games and if you're playing well and if you buy in, then by God come along. And I'm there for the ride, and I'm glad I'm part of it. By the way, I also hate when fans gatekeep, like, don't get on the bandwagon. No, enjoy the ride, man. Enjoy the fun. Like, yeah, I've been there from 1-15, 0-16 to all the 4-12s and everywhere in between. But if I have a chance to actually enjoy the game with people, by God, I'm on. Don't gatekeep being a fan. Just enjoy the show. If somebody wants to cheer on your team, let them. The more the merrier, I say. That's how the Steelers became the Steelers Nation, Bills became Bills Mafia, is because they embraced everybody when they were coming in and where they were good. I think Brown should do the same because this is fun. It's supposed to be fun. And why not cheer along and why not have as many people as you can to do it. So that's my answer to that question. The other question is as a season ticket holder, well, I kind of already answered this. As a season ticket holder in the northern teams, or at least north of me. By the way, this question is from Sleazy from Did You Hear Me podcast. So thank you for the question, Sleaze. Do you enjoy going to bad weather winter games? No, I hate it. Do I go? Yes. Do I complain about it? No. Do I deal with it? Yes. But I have so much more fun at games when I can drink an ice cold beer and shorts and a t-shirt and jumping up without having to worry about pulling a hamstring. I prefer warm weather. That's why I said dome it. Build a dome. Build it already. They look miserable to me. Yeah, they can be miserable. I promise you that. Um, yeah, it's just I'm sitting in a stadium for from basically 12:30 until after 4. I There's no reason why we can't be comfortable enjoying the game, especially when we're paying the much that we're paying. For the fifth time, put a dome over it. Build a dome. Give me a dome in every single, all 32 teams. Build a dome. I don't even care anymore. Have them have the retractable roof so that you get the natural sunlight, natural everything in. If you want it cold in there, a little bit cold, open it up on a nice winter day. I can even deal with that. But let's get the elements out of the game. Way too much money is on the line to have the elements in the game. So, yeah. So, okay. So that's kind of my takes on everything today. I hope everybody had a good holiday season. I hope everybody has a good 2024. Um, yeah, I'm going to be very busy, so I'm going to try to get these out as quickly as I can, as much as I can. I have a wedding coming up in less than a month. So I'm going to be very busy. I look forward to seeing everybody. Like I said on the last podcast, everybody that's invited, I look forward to seeing you. Everybody that wasn't invited should have been a better friend. Obviously, I'm kidding. Um, yeah, so I'm hoping to have a couple guests coming up on the podcast. I have a couple of cousins that have asked to be on it. Um, there's a couple workout people that I'm very interested to talk to and talk about some workouts. I'd like to talk about some Spartan race stuff. I think that's going to be a very cool conversation. Don't forget to get the Roman and Dave merchandise, the Roman and Dave t-shirts, and the Roman and Dave bottles. Um, please get a hold of me on Roman and Dave Podcast on YouTube, Roman and Dave Podcast at gmail.com, and Roman and Dave Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Please, if you want to buy any of our merch, I'd be happy to work with you. Just send me an email. Don't forget to like, comment, follow, and share this so that we can kind of get moving on it. I'm really going to put a lot of effort into this year. I plan on really taking off with this. I think it's going to be a really fun adventure for me. I'm a little nervous, but I'm going to put everything I got into this, and I think it's going to be a great, great show. So have a great winter season. Wish me luck. I will see you guys after the Browns' hopeful victory over the Houston Texans, and I'll catch you guys down the road.